We're
Okay,
live.
we're live now. You guys, thanks for waiting. I'm so sorry, Jack. I'm really, really sorry. I think I'm maybe more nervous than I thought I was going to be. I'm really, really pleased to
Not
have
like we haven't talked before, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just a few times. But really excited to have you here. My name is Emily Clay. I'm the co-founder of Illume, where we're building out resources for midlife career professionals. And today we have Jack Phan, who is a serial entrepreneur, a visionary, and he has loads and loads of experience and wisdom in terms of a digital footprint. So that's going to be our theme today, is talking about your digital footprint. So whether you're in the career search, whether you want to pivot careers, or even if you just want to build out your personal brand. So a little bit about Jack Phan's background. It's pretty extensive. So he has over 20 years. He's been building businesses, scaling businesses in online marketing and lead gen, in affiliate marketing and advertising and news and media. And currently, Jack is the CEO of PhanZu, a media services agency for online publishers. And he's also the CMO of this really cool audio tool called Airdeck. And that was announced back in January, right?
Yes.
January?
Yeah, I joined them back in January.
So anyways, I was playing around with that really cool production tool that I highly recommend. And he has, he's also the CTO for AGEIST, which is a lifestyle media company. And he's a board member of DollarFor, which is a nonprofit that has helped eliminate over $2.5 million worth of debt for low-income families.
It's 4 million now. Apparently, we just
2.5 million.
Crossed,
2.5 million.
We crossed the 4 million mark recently.
Oh, you crossed the 4 million. Oh, no way. I didn't know that. That's great. You need to update your profile.
I do.
And then I'm not done though. Jack has he has 1.2 million followers on social media, engaging in topics on leadership, entrepreneurship. He's also a space enthusiast and posts about NASA social. And he's an industry leader in the Adobe Insiders Group. And he's a living legend. He has a living legendary status as a once uncle to the fan base of K-pop sensation Twice. His experience, as we talked about earlier, CMO of Airdeck, CTO and co-founder of Thursday Market, CTO and co-founder of Reliable Remodeler, which was acquired in 2008 by Quinstreet. He's also been the VP and entrepreneur in residence for Digital Trends and The Manual. And he was the president and COO of Money Crashers. So that's a lot.
You went through my whole resume. I love it.
Oh my word, that's a lot. And so you were here for Web 2.0. So before we dive into questions, Jack, I really wanted to find out a little bit more about how you got here. You know, you majored in computer science at a local college here. You've held CTO roles, you've held CMO roles, you've been successful building companies, and whether they were yours selling them or people you knew helping them through that whole process. Can you kind of talk about a little bit about how you got here and what motivated you?
Yeah, no, that's a great way to start. Again, I'm really happy to be here and start talking and sharing some of my experience and the things that I've been through. I got here, go back to 1997. I was in college and I just returned from studying abroad in China, actually. But this thing called the internet was, starting to start up. And I had a friend who had started a business. It was a painting contractor, started painting houses, but he kept getting referrals for, do you know anybody who can, change my roof or do windows or other remodeling projects? And so he started a business. And what I did was I came in and started telemarketing for him. But one of the skill sets I have, and I still do today, which is my mind always looks at things and says, what's the new way of doing something old, right? What are different things that how can we improve what's there? So the innovative mind in me is what's really made me look for different opportunities, different avenues. So once I looked at what he was doing, I took that to the internet. We created a business, we sold it, became Home Advisor, started another business and grew that. So over time, I started building this wealth of knowledge just through my experience. And once I sold my second company and became an investor, it was one of those things where I'm sharing incredible amount of knowledge here to people that to me was just something I just learned and things I just did as I built my career. But that knowledge is transferable. And it's helpful to a lot of people in a lot of different industries. And I found that the more that I could share that knowledge, the more people looked at me and wanted to connect it to me with me at a deeper level. So that kind of led me to different opportunities. I've always been a communicator, a networker, and finding different opportunities. And eventually that kind of got me motivated to want to do more and be more of a presence and be able to share that information to even more people than just the close people around me. So it kind of blossomed into an opportunity that now I've turned into someone who has thought leadership and knowledge that is valuable to people.
That's great. That's great. In terms of the whole digital footprint, why do you think it's really important to have a strategy around it? Especially if you're in the job market. I mean, what skills and competencies and experiences do you feel people should really, showcase?
Yeah, no, I think, in today's age, back then, I remember this little meme I used to look at. Like I used to do, crazy things as a kid, but social media wasn't around, so nobody knew about it, right? Today, everybody knows about everything that you do. And so your digital footprint is extremely important these days, right? And how you are projected to others is very, very important. You've heard stories about people applying for jobs and getting rejected because they had a bad Facebook post or tweeted something, 5-10 years ago. These things are things that will come back to bite you, right? And I've always been very conscious of sharing things that are personal as well as professional, but they connect to the audience and in a way that's very professional, right? I like to keep things very positive, and that's just my style. Because when I meet new clients, when I have an opportunity to work with new people, every opportunity I've landed at, people have looked at me with respect, and that's because I projected that within my social media, within my digital footprint. You search for Jack Phan today, you'll see it's overwhelmingly very positive, and that's a good thing because that now lets me have opportunities in many ways that I never thought I had before.
Yeah, it translates. Absolutely. I was helping a woman who was in marketing and trying to connect her to different opportunities that I ran across. And then after I did that, I started looking at her social media feed, and it wasn't drastic, it wasn't horrible, but it was a lot of customer service complaints on her Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh no. So, is that the image that you want to portray? Is that, I just thought, oh, yikes, what's going on there?
Right. No, I think, people use social media in different ways, right? And a lot of people I know have Twitter so that they can go and complain to, a service or a brand to try to get some answers. It's a great way to communicate in the sense of you can reach brands and people in a very easy way. But also know that what you're putting out there is, if you're not a private account, it's viewable to the public, and so you have to be aware of that. When I look at people that I want to work with, I have to make sure they align with me as far as what their strategies, what their goals are. But it doesn't take much to realize that they don't align. They may say something on one side, but you go look at their digital footprint and it's completely opposite. So you have to be careful of that. And I'm conscious of that. So yeah, my digital footprint is very, very, clean, but still very, very authentic. It's who I am. And people recognize that and they connect with you for that. Yeah,
absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about some of the amazing connections that you've been able to make? I'm talking specifically about the Once Uncle story, which is really, really interesting. But if you could share that, because I think it's powerful, and it's powerful in the way that you responded. So
yeah, I've had with Twitter and social media, it's been a blessing to be able to meet incredible people and be a part of incredible groups. I've done things with NASA, being a part of the NASA social team. I'm a part of a huge Adobe group, Adobe Insiders, where a lot of influencers in that group as well. But the most amazing experience I've had on the internet, on Twitter with this community, was K-pop. And that story goes back to a couple of years ago. I think now 2019 now, I believe. Wow, it's been 2 years. But during the Apple event, I was watching the Apple event on that day. Usually that's the most viewed thing, trending thing on the internet. But on that day, something was trending ahead of it. And so the story goes, I was watching the event, looking on Twitter and realizing something's trending above it, and just the word Momo. So I took a screenshot, I shared it out, and I said, "What is Momo?" And it was one of those things where I started getting blasted with people responding to that, and I didn't know what was going on. It was just people sending me gifts and sending me videos and explaining to me who Momo is, and she's a part of a girl group band in Korea called Twice, and they have a comeback, which is a new album, a new song that's coming out, and they kept going and going, and so it was very, very fascinating, and it took my attention away from the Apple event, and I started to engage with the followers. I started to engage with the people that were giving me attention because I had tweeted something, and then I responded by saying, "Okay, that's interesting." So I checked the group out, and I thought, this is pretty cool. They have a very positive vibe. They have a very great way of sharing their music and the personalities. And I was like, this is a really interesting and fun group to know. And the fan base that came at me wasn't negative but for the most part. And they came at me by saying, they could have very easily said, "Who's this old guy tweeting him? What is Momo?" It's like K-pop stans can go crazy and go nuts, which I've experienced as well. But what I could receive from the fans, which demonstrated kind of what type of fans that Twice has, was very positive. And the fans came to me and they were like, "This is who they are. Learn about them. Watch this video. Here's the favorite song. Here's their comeback. They're having another thing happening tomorrow." So when you're able to engage with people from that perspective, it starts to build a lot of trust. And I, got another, 5,000-10,000 followers immediately because people were engaging with me and I was responding. This guy with a blue check mark on Twitter is talking to, regular stans, right? So it's to them, it was very exciting, and I enjoyed it every moment. And now they've called me the once uncle. So basically uncle to onces, which are the fan base to Twice, and it's a really great wholesome experience, and something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. There was a woman I met through Twitter. She just DM'd me and said, "I looked at your profile and do you want to apply to speak at this event?" And I said, "Sure. I would love to." And so and we've been friends ever since. And I've introduced her to people through LinkedIn and who are in research, as she is. But anyway, so yeah, it's interesting what sometimes things can happen that you go, "Wait a minute, I met them on Clubhouse or whatever." I mean,
yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, I've met really some incredible people. I mean, the president of Linfield University here in McMinnville, Oregon, for example, he just saw me on Twitter and just saw that I was in Portland and saw the inspirational quotes and things I was tweeting out at the time, and he reached out to me. We had lunch, and now I'm on the business advisory council for the university, school of business, and I've actually shared some lectures in a couple classes, and part of this committee that's helping to expand the awareness of the university. So who knew that could happen, right?
and that was all through Twitter.
All through Twitter, which is incredible. God. Yeah,
that's awesome. So can you talk a little bit about the human piece? I mean, making a mistake, making an error and going, "Oh, what do I do now? Should I just go with the flow? Should I delete it?" You seem pretty mellow, for lack of a better word. Like, let's just be upbeat and, call it what it is or whatever. But I would imagine, sometimes that happens. So how would you What would you recommend?
Yeah, I've been on social media enough, and I've made my fair share of mistakes. Whether just a tweet that was unintentional. I mean, I'm looking at
Mhm.
like Myers Leonard. Today he's out there, dealing with an issue with the Miami Heat because he made a anti-Semitic statement, right, or comment during a game, and it was unintentional in the sense of what he wasn't targeting or doing anything in that perspective, but he used it, and it was very. I love the response that Julian Edelman had responded to him, which was, hate is still hate, and whether it was intentional or not, you have to be able to live up to those mistakes and be able to, learn and approach it in the right way to make things right, right. So when it comes to like Twitter posts or things that I've shared in the past, you know, there have been things I thought was just for fun, right? And I've shared, whether it be memes or, Twice has a thing called once selfie day, which is when you take a picture, a selfie of yourself, and you mimic what the idols are doing.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, so today is actually one Selka day for Twice, but so I took a picture, and and again, there's a challenge when it comes to how people perceive me as a part of the fan base versus how I actually am, right? And for the most part, those that have connected with me or have an understanding of my enjoyment and my personality, you'll see that my Twitter is full of cute animals and things that are funny and humorous. And I have two amazing daughters. That I do TikTok dances with and just random things. So if you know my personality, you know me, you'll see I'm that goofy guy that just enjoys having fun and appreciates talents as well as enjoys who doesn't enjoy kittens and puppies, right? I mean, that's who I am. So when it comes to Twice, I look at them in a very cute, fun way, and because I'm a middle-aged man and they're mostly 20-year-old girls, it can seem to be very weird to people who don't know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And so when I shared a picture out of me next, side by side with a K-pop idol, those who didn't know suddenly made it like, that's creepy, that's really weird. So I was attacked, right, by a lot of different fans who didn't really know who I was, or just thought I was, being creepy in a sense. But those who actually knew me defended me as well. And so those are the moments where I thought, do I remove this? Because I don't want to cause controversy in these situations. I don't want to cause more rift amongst the fan base themselves. And so there were times, initially I was like, I'll just delete this because it's more hassle than it is it's meant to be. It's meant to be for fun. Eventually, other fans encouraged me. Like, no, you're doing it. We know who you are. We know what you're doing. Post it. It's fun for us. And so now what I've done is I've taken that opportunity and created ones that were, both fun and creative, but also kept it in a way where it's not, as best as I can make it as comfortable for everyone as possible. So I'm definitely aware of those things. There are times when you want to just delete it, but the digital footprint thing, people take snapshots, they take screenshots, and they're really quick. So you own up to it most of the time. You're like, what, it is what it is, and I'll respond and apologize or say what I have to say, because I know that people already screenshot and did those things. So that's just the reality of social media today.
Yeah. Wow. So you have to be really careful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I was embarrassed because I was thanking Jack for this event. So excited. And I wrote on Twitter, and I wrote at Airdeck, believing that was their handle, but I didn't double check. So the response to me, and I had a Taylor Swift thing dancing around. Anyway, the response to me was like this angry Britney Spears. And I thought, that's weird coming from the CEO of Airdeck. And then Jack Phan swoops in and goes, Emily, this nice man has Airdeck. It's actually Airdeck official. And I was like, oh my God, now Jack's going to break the internet with my mistake. But I thought, oh, maybe I should just delete this because this is weird. At any rate, yeah. So I think just being really careful. And I left it, and like people were like, "Oh my God, this is hilarious!" And they were like, "I don't know, 100 likes." I'm like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?"
Yeah, no, that's the thing where it was kind of fun because some mistakes, if you are able to, and then the light's coming in at me right at the perfect timing. Amazing. But when you make certain like mistakes like that, you can turn it into a positive. And again, Eric Decker, who owns Airdeck, right? I haven't talked to him officially, but we've exchanged tweets, and he's like, "This is kind of interesting. I'm just kind of see where this is going." And people were commenting, and they were, liking, and it was kind of fun at the end of the day because mistakes happen, and you own up to it, and there's no reason to delete that one in that case. And I've been told more often than not that, it is what it is. Live up to it, own up to it, or respond the appropriate way, because it was your reaction at that time, and it is what it is. So
yeah, I felt really bad, but it all ended okay. So then what would you say are your main rules and kind of your philosophy in terms of engaging with others online? I mean, I know you talked a little bit about it earlier, but in terms of kind of your go-to best practices for managing your own reputation, I mean, you're positive, you're upbeat. What else can you kind of share with us?
Yeah, I try to keep things, very positive, very upbeat. I try not to engage in things that can be controversial. There are times where there are, things I'm passionate about, right? And so, when there are movements or things that are happening in the world, there are times where my voice is important to people, which to me, it's questionable, because I've never felt that I've had that much of a strength in what I had to say. But the more that my career grew, the more that my following grew, I realized that that's just, people expect me to have a response. And so I like to keep things as positive as possible, and really steer that conversation in a way that can open up conversation. We can have tough conversations, but not be judgy, not be controversial in what's happening. It's just part of trying to be able to connect with the audience in multiple ways in one, right? My audience is a big mix. It's a mix of a bunch of different people, left, right, black, white, Asian, whatever that is. And my perspective on things is, educate yourself. Just learn about what's actually happening. And if I can help educate that, or if things that I'm unsure about, I'm open to what people tell me, and provide that knowledge to me, because it's super important in social media to be able to kind of get and fact checked, right, and understand what's going on, and before you make a reaction or response. And so that's where I try to steer that conversation, and encourage that.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. If you feel yourself having an emotional response, like just pause, just pause. So then in terms of some of your favorite influencers, who in your mind is pretty extraordinary and consistently offers value, even if it's making you smile or making you, laugh about something? Like, to me, I think that's valuable. Are there people specifically who you follow in the, marketing space, for example?
Yeah, no, I have, obviously with my Adobe group, I have incredible friends and colleagues in that group. There are folks like Goldie Chan. She's an influencer. She has her green hair. She's doing amazing things. She does stuff on LinkedIn, and she's a marketing professional as well. But she brings, a lot of different insights, and she starts conversations and is engaging in many ways. So Goldie Chan is someone that I really admire. Winnie Sun as well. She's kind of a contributor for like Forbes and CNBC and different publications, and she talks a lot about financial literacy. My time at Money Crashers, I got to know her a little bit, and she has Twitter chats and things that I engage with her. But she shares knowledge and to help people become more financially savvy, as well as understand the ins and outs. But those two specifically are the marketing side of it. But I love humor. I'm the guy who loves things that are crazy and fun, and I share that stuff, and people love it when I share a chipmunk with nuts in his mouth, bulging out or something, or pandas falling down on a tree. But someone I follow who does that quite a bit, which some people like, some people don't, is like Rex Chapman, right? He's a former athlete, and he's a former basketball player, but he just shares fun and unique things that are happening, right? And those are the people that it's fun to enjoy. I recommend people to expand their following on Twitter, follow more people and gain more experience, gain more knowledge, and see who they're following, who they're engaging with, and follow those people as well. I may have to pull the shades down because
that's okay. Go for it.
The sun is going to set right on my eyes. So.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. I'm back. And Mimi, who says, "I love your baby, my baby Yoda in the back." I didn't realize you guys could see that. Can you see my baby Yoda?
Maybe she might be talking about online. Or do you have it? Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, oh my God, you have a few of them.
I do. There's more baby Yodas back there, but good eye.
Yeah. Apparently, Jack's a collector.
I am. I love cute things. You don't understand. Like that's one of the things that I love cute little fuzzy things, and I have that personality. It's just something that I really enjoy, and people know that of me now, and they're not surprised when I love baby pictures and kittens and puppies and pandas falling down and baby Yodas,
Yeah, so show that piece. Show the authentic piece of
Exactly.
who you are with a mix of professional, information. Right? Kind of?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean
I don't know. Maybe if you just have baby Yodas every day dressed up in something different, maybe that would help people.
Exactly.
So then if anybody has any questions, please put them in the there's one question right now. Let me see. Okay, this is from Carol. Can Google Trends really help find a sweet spot for a business niche?
Wow, that's more of a marketing question. But Google Trends, yes, I would say yes. If you follow Google Trends and see what's trending, Google is a what do you call that? A catalyst for a lot of different ideas and things that happen, and they're an indicator of what's going to be trending or what is trending. And when I'm in media news, for example, you look at trends quite a bit because you develop your content plan to look at what's trending and where things are headed. And usually, when it's hitting the trend, you're not too late. It gives you an opportunity to see what's out there and improve that content, or go into a specific niche that's related to that content. I think that's something that more people should be looking at. If you're looking at expanding your business, looking at ways to develop content, be aware of what's happening. And Google is a great source for that. It's because of just the enormous amount of data that they have.
What would you say are the main social media? I mean, would you prioritize, say, Twitter and LinkedIn over other social media in terms of, really career search, pivot, kind of, doing the personal branding thing? Or would you recommend everything?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question. And I think the landscape changes so often, right? For a while there, LinkedIn was, the main source when it came to, job hunting, careers, influencers and whatnot. They've changed pretty dramatically in the past month and a half. Their algorithm has changed, and for the worse. And I'm hearing a lot of different things from different people about how LinkedIn is being used and the algorithm that's affecting so many people right now. It's not it's an interesting thing that they're doing, and I'm trying to figure out, why, right? I think, trying to oversaturate because there's an audience there is not the right way to do it. But LinkedIn made that decision that, okay, people are now using it, let's just oversaturate with ads and everything else. And I think that took away some of the allure of LinkedIn. Facebook, interestingly enough, has been really focusing on building these groups, and we went through that phase of people leaving Facebook and saying, I'm done with Facebook. There is trends that are showing that it's making a comeback in the sense of how groups are being used and how people are leveraging that to connect with other individuals. I'm a part of multiple groups on Facebook, Asian Hustle Network, PDX Business, some of these other groups, cooking groups as well. And you build some really strong connections within these groups because it's tight knit. It's a group that's on a specific topic. And I don't use Facebook too much for sharing a lot of personal things anymore. I leave my Facebook public and I use it to engage in the groups because there's a lot of great conversations of people that are still there. And brands are figuring out that, hey, we can create a group about a certain topic and we can have these discussions and people are free to post and whatnot, but follow admin rules. So I see Facebook kind of taking the opportunity of LinkedIn's kind of mishap in the past month or two here, where they're beginning to take advantage of that. I still love Twitter, but I think Twitter can be very distracting if you aren't able to focus on what's going on. During the past year, you can say there was a lot of negative stuff that was happening and people had to take Twitter break. I took a Twitter break for like a month and a half, 2 months, just because it was too much noise. And so, we're seeing now with Clubhouses and Spaces and some of these other tools where, smaller groups and smaller communities that are within the platforms are actually being able to achieve more, and the connections that you make are much deeper. And you have opportunities that you wouldn't be able to have. LinkedIn is still trying to figure out its thing, I think. I have a lot of followers on LinkedIn, but I've never used it in that way. And now that I finally started to use it, they changed the algorithm on me. So now I'm like, okay, what good is it now? So
and I guess it probably depends on if you have your own business and it's a product and it's really around images and Instagram. So I guess it would also kind of depend on what your business is or what you're trying to attract.
Yeah, definitely. So there's multiple platforms out there, and I think I'm the type who is always looking at the new platforms and trying different things, right? It's because I'm always looking for new ways of doing old things. That's just a saying that's been around, and I've enjoyed using that in my own life because I don't like staying still. And that's probably where my ADD comes in, which is, I look forward to the next bright and shiny object. But when I do find something that I really see results in, I can go very, very deep, very, very fast and maximize out of, the results out of that. So, just be aware of what's happening in the industry. I don't fixate and say, I'm only going to be on Twitter. I'm only going to be on Facebook. I'm only going to be on Instagram. I keep my options open and I keep my digital footprint in a way that allows me to jump from one to the other and focus on, TikTok or, Instagram Reels or something like that. Just because I love seeing how people engage in those platforms.
Yeah, because that's your specialty. That's your expertise. So now we have another question. It's in the chats from Karen, and she said, tips on dealing with internet trolls. Sometimes I post online and they take what I wrote and twist it so it sounds nothing like my original post. Some also attack and don't let up. If this is the case, I ignore them after a post or two. Is this the right strategy to just ignore them?
Yeah, that's a good question because, what's the old saying? I can't please everyone. I'm not pizza, right?
I love that. I haven't heard that.
That's a common thing, right? I know that if I'm putting myself out there, I'm not going to please everyone. There are always going to be people who want to be trolls. I started a YouTube channel back when the K-pop thing happened, and so I'm a pianist and I write music as well as play a lot of different music. So I was doing piano covers of Twice songs, right? And it was just for fun. I wasn't doing it professionally. I wasn't trying to do anything to show off anything more than just showing love for the group and sharing it with the fans, which they really enjoyed. And it was very interesting because the amount of likes I received, were overwhelmingly positive. But then you still had that, 2, 3, 4, 5%, which is very low for YouTube, of negative. The thumbs down and then comments like, oh, that wasn't as great as blah 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 or this and that. You're always going to have trolls. You're always going to have people who have a different perspective, and those are going to be the people who try to get the worst out of you. And unfortunately, when those instances happen, you have to just ignore them, right? I've tried to you can't try to reason. I've tried to, trust me, I've tried. But there are moments, and I will say this: there are moments when it's a lack of knowledge or education or understanding, I guess is the more appropriate word there. because there are those who love to just make a comment and think, oh, this guy with the blue check mark is never going to read my comment or never respond, right? And for a while there, I was reading every comment, and I was, certain ones hurt me, certain ones affected me, but I responded to them. I said, this is why I feel this way. This is why this is the case. And I respond. There were those who were like, oh my gosh, you respond. I did not expect that. I'm sorry. Right. And I had a lot of those, interestingly enough, because there was this mindset that, oh, he's got 1 million followers. He's not going to have time to read my comment.
Mm-hmm.
But when I held them accountable and I responded, I've actually made some friends that way. When they I just thought you were some creep, honestly. And then when you responded in a very positive way, I appreciate that. Then there are the other ones who are just, they want to do whatever they can to draw the ear from you, right? It's just like make you frustrated, and getting pulled into those can be very, very frustrating because you feel like you have a right to defend yourself. You feel like you have a right to reason or justify something, and it takes a lot of time. It's very draining. It can do a thing on your anxiety, your mental health, and it's not worth it. It really is not worth it. And so I focus most of my time now on the people that I can build a connection with, and people who understand me or take the time to try to understand me. And then the negative comments just kind of go to the side. I have to ignore them, even though there are times I want to respond. I want to really, really respond. I don't, and that's just my personal take on that, because it's not worth our time. It's not worth the mental strain that happens with that. And you move on, because you know that for every negative troll, there's going to be 5 people who are very positive, or 10 people who are very great on who you are and what you do. Mark Schaefer, who he talked about in his book Known, which is building your personal brand and unleashing your personal brand. He talked in his book about, once he started turning his content into blog content, the comments were overwhelmingly positive. He had people coming at him in a very negative way, trolls all over the place. But the people who truly engage with his content and connect with him and know who he is, that's the people he cares about. He doesn't care about the people that just are there just to leave negative comments and tell him everything that he's doing wrong, right? And that's, for me, was the same way. It's like when I realized that there are some people that I can, make a response and then move on. And then there are those who it's just not worth my time anymore.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. No, thank you so much.
Great question.
I wanted to repeat a quote that was written in The Ageist by David Stewart, because I think it just touches on what we've been talking about. It says, when people are loyal and passionate to you or your business, listen to what they want and respond authentically. I shared honest reactions and feelings while also contributing to the community with piano covers and unboxing videos to show support. I don't know what those are, but I saw the piano covers. The more I did for the fan base, the more they engaged with me. So I feel like, translating that into business and career, even if you have like top 5 tips from a book that you've read and, something like that, and you're consistently doing something like that, it feels like that's something that would be, an analogy to what you're talking about with the K-pop group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did a whole presentation at the Adobe Summit on this topic. And, I believe that, where K-pop has done a great job is, building this fan base for, for their idols, right? And the engagement levels that happen in those groups is enormous. And they're doing this on their own. They're doing this because of their love for Twice, their love for K-pop, their love for the groups. In business, there's a level of trust and community that is built when you're able to engage with your customers and treat them like like people who really appreciate what you do for them, and you appreciate them back. They become your fans. They're your evangelists. They're the ones who are going to talk about your business and the things that the business has done for them, your products has done for them. These are the things that are so much deeper than any marketing thing that you could do, right? It's really an opportunity to establish a relationship that is long term, and word of mouth is still king, right? So if you are able to turn your customers into your fans by engaging with them, by communicating, by sharing behind the scenes, by doing things that allow them to feel excited and want to do things on their own. You can think about times when maybe it's a movie, a show, or a car or brand or whatnot, that you're like, I'm gonna do it just because I love BMW, Mercedes. I love Star Wars and Avengers and Marvel. People will do those things because of their passion for it, but then also because of what they get in return, which is a sense of community and loyalty that they can bring back to those brands. So it's something that I think carries on, right? My things with the fan base of Twice was exactly that. It was they wanted to see unboxing videos, so which is when you take an album. So they still do albums, and you open the albums. There's all these photo cards in them, and you flip through the pages, and not all of them are the same. And so people love doing unboxings to see, what did you get? Who did you get? There's like, I think in some cases like 50 cards, right? And I only got 9, right? So it's like people are excited to see which one did you get. So those unboxing videos, you just kind of peel through and go through all of them, piano covers, whatever it is. But I was engaging and sharing my authentic reaction to this rather than productizing, what I was doing. I wasn't trying to sell anything. I wasn't trying to market anything. But what happens is people build enough trust in me to, want to buy it and do things with me. So it's great.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people on LinkedIn, and I'll look at who have reached out, and so oftentimes I'll connect, but sometimes I'll look at it and I'll think, what? I'm a little skeptical or feel like they're trying to sell me something, or I don't know. But when I've gone on different kind of conferences or whatever, and over Zoom, obviously, and I'll reach out to the author or something, oftentimes they'll connect. And then, I'm their biggest fan. So it kind of makes sense in what you're saying. It's like, well, why wouldn't you connect? Because I'm going to like everything that you post,
Exactly.
So yeah, that's funny. But, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but oftentimes they'll be like, yeah, okay, I'll connect. If you, really liked what I said in the conference and it was helpful, cool, I'll go for it. So if anybody else has any questions for Jack, let me know. We're coming up on time, but there's an ask a question button down below. And then I also wanted to call out the green button that you'll see in the middle of down below on the screen. So that is an opportunity to try out Airdeck. So it is not, it's just a 14-day trial. They do not take your credit card. I've tried it. It is awesome. Just letting you know, I had a project that I was working on. It was a 4-page PDF, and I did a little voiceover on each slide, offering different ideas. Anyway, I love it. Super, super easy to use. And you can, use the trial without getting charged. But I am actually going to buy it. But at any rate, so, but you can try it out and not be in the, eternal subscription. So I wanted to offer up any other questions, you guys? No? Okay, I guess that's it. On April 8th, we have Marty Constant. Oh, okay. And Twitter. Yes, follow Jack on Twitter. Nick just posted his handle, which is at Jack Phan, so that he can get another million. And then, yes, and then we have Marty Constant on April 8th. She's a coach. She's an author, and she's going to be talking about your agile career. So with that, Jack, thank you so much. I'm really appreciative. And thank you, everybody, for your patience on the Crowdcast platform. And really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for having me. I had a great time. And feel free to connect with me on Twitter. I do answer DMs and connect with me on different platforms. LinkedIn, I still respond to people on LinkedIn. So if you have any questions or you want to reach out to me, I'm always available. Yeah, if you want to try out Airdeck, try it out. It's a great product that I think will save you a lot of time, be able to personalize your message in your presentations and documents with your audience. And again, it's about audience engagement, right? And I think that's where everything that I work around is going to be in that same line. So thank you for having me, Emily. And I appreciate everyone joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.